Samsung is by far the biggest company in South Korea. It makes more than twice as much as the next largest South Korean corporation. In order to house their more than 250,000 employees, the electronics giant has built its own city just outside Seoul. Today, we're learning about the city that Samsung built.
Tech vision versus simply tech.
The Samsung Group, which includes Samsung Electronics and Samsung Life Insurance among others, has an annual revenue of $208 billion, accounting for 17% of South Korea's total GDP. Though it has been plagued by controversy in recent years, it is by far one of the largest corporations on Earth. Samsung produces everything from medical supplies to energy, and they have substantial holdings in finance, resort management, and insurance. In the first quarter of 2019, Samsung shipped 71.9 million smartphone units, compared to Huawei and Apple, which shipped 59.1 million and 36.4 million respectively, according to IDC. Needless to say, this company is extremely powerful. Only 30 kilometers outside of the South Korean capital of Seoul sits one of the largest urban corporate centers on the planet, Samsung Digital City. It's technically housed in the city of Suwon, an ancient community with roots going back as far as the 8th century. Hwaseong Fortress is Suwon's most notable attraction. Built in 1796, the entire city used to be encircled by the walls, but now Suwon has expanded beyond this boundary. Hwaseong is also listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But despite Suwon's historical past, Samsung Digital City is extremely modern. Though technically not a city, it might as well be. Within 390 acres of office space, there are almost 35,000 Samsung employees, 4 landmark office towers up to 38 floors high, 131 smaller buildings with more labs, offices, recreational facilities, and a guest house for visiting researchers. It's unclear exactly how much the campus cost to construct, but conservative estimates place the price at around $1 billion, with many millions every year in upkeep and perks for employees. There's also what's called Samsung 5G City, which consists of an outdoor park where the company tests 5G network equipment, which is currently being deployed to telecom providers including in South Korea and the US. The sprawling campus includes cafeterias where employees eat for free, a massive gym, and includes international food and beverage outlets such as Dunkin' Donuts. While security is tight and heavily guarded, the Samsung Innovation Museum is open to the public and pays homage to the history of Samsung, along with a general history of technology products. In addition, events are organized each week, including concerts, fashion shows, and talk shows, and 690 cultural clubs keep employees entertained on their breaks. These clubs span across interests from Korean folk painting to paragliding and cooking. On top of all this, Samsung's headquarters hosts 490 sports clubs and offers a swimming pool, basketball and badminton courts, and baseball diamonds. There are bizarre otherworldly spaces like the Multiple Input, Multiple Output, or MIMO, wherein Samsung tests different cell phone technology. Samsung is extremely quiet about the testing that takes place in the MIMO. However, the futuristic space appears more like the cockpit of a spaceship. Samsung said more than 65,000 of its employees are dedicated to conducting research and development, which is the equivalent to around 20% of its global workforce. To encourage creativity amongst staff, its Seoul R&D campus hosts a multi-story library where designers and employees can come to brainstorm and find inspiration amidst books and magazines. The campus is also home to Samsung's Sound Lab, which features music equipment and voice booths where the voice of Samsung's smartphone virtual assistant Bixby is recorded. It's also where sounds are created for many of its household appliances, such as the sound a smartphone makes once it's plugged into an electrical outlet, or the sound a refrigerator makes after its door has been left open for too long. Due to the rather minimal welfare services by the state in South Korea, Samsung Electronics provides many social benefits for its employees free of charge. As the welfare state in South Korea is only slowly emerging, Samsung Electronics stands out as an attractive and reliable employer with its broad offering of free social services in Samsung Digital City. These services include healthcare, childcare, free food, recreation, and free public transportation. In case you need to see a doctor during your stay in Samsung Digital City, it is entirely free for Samsung employees. The healthcare service is free at Samsung Digital City, with numerous medical facilities that offer everything from physicals and flu shots to dental treatments and traditional acupuncture. Samsung Digital City has 10 basketball courts, 4 badminton courts, 3 soccer fields, 2 baseball diamonds, a climbing wall, and an Olympic-sized swimming pool. It also serves up to 72,000 meals with 92 different menus daily. The cafeteria, with more than 4,100 seats, sources its produce from Suwon's neighborhoods, creating a strong link with farmers and producers. Kindergartens with 150 teachers look after 900 children of Samsung employees during the work week. In addition, the campus is home to a helicopter pad and free buses and trains for all their employees, with a total number of vehicles in the hundreds. When it's Family Day in Samsung Digital City, the whole campus turns into a theme park for Samsung families and residents. And yes, it includes the go-karts. When it rains, the company provides 9,000 free umbrellas for each of its employees to use between buildings. Of course, Samsung's biggest competitors, companies like Apple, Huawei, Google and Amazon, all have secretive labs too. But Samsung has a reputation for throwing things against the wall to see if they stick, often at a faster rate than its rivals. That strategy is great when it works, but it also leads to the occasional flop. One example, in 2019, when Samsung rushed its folding phone Galaxy Fold to the market, early reviewers complained of defective hinges and broken screens. Samsung pulled the phone, tweaked the design, and has since launched a new version in South Korea. And in 2016, Samsung had one of its most legendary failures ever. Its Galaxy 7 phones began spontaneously combusting and their stock tanked. They were forced to recall 1 million phones, though they have since regained their standing in public opinion.
Costing a total upwards of $5 billion, the Apple headquarters is one of the most expensive buildings on the planet. The building took 8 years to finish, with over 5 years spent on just its construction. The building was designed by Jobs himself and features a design like no other. Let's take a look at just what this building has to offer. General information. Named Apple Park, the Apple headquarters is a sight to behold. The building covers an area of 176 acres, and surprisingly, over 80% of it has been dedicated to green space. The main building is officially called the Ring, and for good reason, since it's, well, in the shape of a ring. In the center of it is a lush green park. A park inside a park. Apple Park might have a super futuristic design, but plans for its construction were actually made back in 2006 by the Apple founder, Steve Jobs. Innovative design. The top of Apple Park is covered with solar panels. Electricity from these solar panels accounts for 75% of the energy needs of the building, and is a testament to Apple's dedication to sustainability and eco-friendliness. This 4-story work of art is also resistant to earthquakes and is built to cater to 12,000 employees. The circular spaceship is huge, with over a 1-mile circumference. Employees can walk from one to the other, or they can take the on-campus bus. Bikes are also available, once again contributing to the sustainability of it all. Under Apple Park, there's a 2-story garage so employees can drive in and out of the building without disrupting the view. Gray-colored bikes are also available in case you don't want to walk down to the parking lot. Apple Park has been designed to maximize employees' efficiency and to promote as much innovation as possible. To do this, the building has been shaped in a way that promotes employee interaction. Several steps have been taken in this regard, the biggest being the addition of glass walls. Glass walls. Apple has taken a different approach to workspaces as compared to traditional offices. While traditional offices have small cubicles for each employee to sit and work in, Apple Park offers open office space to encourage the free flow of ideas. This also enables employees to socialize with each other so they don't get bored and burnt out working all day. People do have some concerns regarding this since the transparent walls are easy to walk into if you're distracted. In fact, 2 employees actually had to visit the hospital after bumping face first into the walls. After this incident, employees stuck sticky notes on the walls to make them more noticeable. However, the post-it notes were taken down since they disrupted the building design. The garden. The center of Apple Park is covered with over 9,000 drought-resistant trees and quite a few orchards. Jobs was a fan of the foliage work done at Stanford University and actually went ahead and got one of their arborists to design the garden. Various indigenous trees, including fruit trees, including cherry, apricot, olive, and, well, you guessed it, apples, have been planted. Studies have shown that plants are good for both reducing stress and increasing innovation, and Apple is using this to the maximum. Apart from all the trees and orchards, Apple Park also has an artificial pond, which, just like the building it's present in, is a perfect circle. Single restaurant. Instead of multiple restaurants throughout the building, Apple Park has only one main restaurant. There are several smaller cafes, but when it comes to restaurants, there's only one. This decision to have only one restaurant means that employees have more and more opportunities to interact with each other and discuss new ideas. Let's talk about some of the other buildings that Apple Park features. 1. The Steve Jobs Theater. The Steve Jobs Theater, or as it's now called, the Apple Auditorium, is a 1,000-seat theater in Apple Park. This theater has the world's tallest freestanding glass elevator at 42 feet high. Apple achieved this feat by using chemically treated glass. However, being the best at just one thing wasn't enough for Apple, so they also added the world's largest carbon fiber roof at the top too. The innovation promotion steps seem to be working. Interestingly, the Steve Jobs Theater is completely underground with only the top curved glass dome being above the ground, but at the same time, it's located on the highest hilltop in Apple Park as a sign of respect for Steve Jobs. Looking at the building, you might be confused that there are no support beams, but here's the fun part. Apple designed the building so that the curved glass walls act as the support beam. This is also why the roof is made of carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is super lightweight, but durable at the same time. The Steve Jobs Theater looks just as futuristic as the Ring, and if you've seen the latest Apple event, you probably saw the new iPhone being announced in it. 2. Rainbow Stage. Located in the garden is a rectangular field with a rainbow-colored stage. The stage is used mostly for announcements and performances. The colors used on the stage are exactly like those of the original Apple logo. The stage was designed by Jonathan Ive and Foster & Partners. It's one of the most recognizable structures in Apple Park and can be seen from pretty much any spot on the Ring. 3. Yoga and Wellness Center. To make sure that employees are well taken care of and de-stressed, there's also a wellness center. The Wellness Center is a 100,000 square foot building complete with showers, group workout areas, a gym, and even a laundry service. There's even a 2-story yoga room. The Wellness Center is impressive, but it's actually the yoga room that's the star of the show, as it's covered with a very special type of stone. Steve Jobs made sure that the stone used for the yoga room was sourced from a special Kansas quarry. This was done so that the yoga room could look like a restaurant in Yosemite that Jobs was a fan of. 4. Visitor Center. The only building visitors are allowed to visit without a pass is the Visitor Center. The Visitor Center is one building, but it's been divided into 4 different sections. The first is the 10,000 square foot Apple Store. This Apple Store is just like any other Apple Store, although it is a lot more flashy, obviously. All the latest Apple products are available in the Apple Store, and also some exclusive Apple merch and souvenirs. Other areas include a 2,300 square foot cafe, an observation deck, and an AR experience area. The AR experience area is designed so visitors can experience the inside of the building without actually having to visit it. Talk about innovation. It is Apple after all. Anyways, that was all for today's video.
Made it to this point? That's amazing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and share for more videos like this. I am ICJ, and this is Amiable Media. Catch you in the next one.